Hey there, friends. As a side note, I've been a little bit busy lately on some other projects, some activism type projects that I've been working on. So it's taken me a little bit away from Legally Owned America, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. It's just that my energy has been focused on some other things here lately. This is not totally a gun-related story, but it's definitely related based on the fact that we're talking about the Speaker of the House. A lot of weird stuff happening right now with the Speaker of the House. You guys will remember her husband got a DUI. They tried to cover that up locally. They weren't successful at that. Various news agencies and organizations continue to push to get the facts out. Now it appears that Paul Pelosi has once again come to the headlines, if you will. Paul Pelosi had the original story out that someone broke into his house using a hammer, busted a glass window, and assaulted him. Now this is totally a guess on my part, but I believe that the local law enforcement, knowing full well that they can't let the full story out because the Speaker of the House is the wife of Paul Pelosi, I believe that they probably purposely let some of these facts and details get out about this case so that people would start asking questions. It would appear that it's not exactly what they think that happened. Let me explain some of the things to you. Paul Pelosi called 911 at approximately 2:30 a.m. and said that a, quote, friend named, quote, David, that he didn't know had entered his home. The police responded and went to the front door. By the police responding and going to the front door, tells me automatically, and anybody with half a brain, that they were not approaching this home thinking that they were going to save somebody like Paul Pelosi. They weren't thinking Paul Pelosi was being burglarized or attacked, because why would they go knock at the front door? That's not how law enforcement works. If you call and say somebody's attacking me in my home, they're not going to go rap on the door politely and wait till somebody comes to the door to open that up to let you in. That's just not how it works. That's not how law enforcement works. But that's what happened here. So clearly it was more of a welfare check by them going rap on the front door than it was them going to rescue Mr. Pelosi from his attacker. San Francisco Police Department Chief Bill Scott said that an unknown person opened the door for officers and they observed DePape and Pelosi each holding one hammer. DePape is the person who, and then maybe it's pronounced another way, it spells DePape. DePape is a person who Pelosi is alleging attacked him. So it appears there was a third person who let them in. Again, that's not clear at this point. I'm just basing this on what the San Francisco police chief said, that an unknown person, because he knew who DePape was, and he says an unknown person opened the door to let the police in, and then he saw DePape and Pelosi, or they saw DePape and Pelosi each with a hammer. I would also like to point out that they were also in their underwear. Now, I'll give Paul Pelosi a pass at 2:30 a.m. That's possibly he was in his underwear. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt on that. It was his house, and it was 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Most attackers do not attack with a hammer or in their underwear, but this is where the story starts to get a little crazy. The officers ordered Pelosi and DePape to drop the hammer when DePape attacked Pelosi with a hammer. DePape was in his underwear and Pelosi called 911 supposedly from the bathroom. The media reported that the call came in as a break-in, but that's very unlikely with the simple fact that Pelosi knew who his attacker was. At least he knew his name. I don't know of many, if any, instances ever where an attacker broke into a house with a hammer in his underwear and announced his name to the person he was attacking. Very unlikely that that is a scenario that's popped up very often, and it's very unlikely that that's what happened here too. The New York Post reported that the 911 caller doesn't know who the male is, but he advises that his name is David, and then said he is a friend. Let me point out some inconsistencies and some very unlikely scenarios that seem to be existing right here. For one, there is an unofficial report that the glass that was busted, that they're saying was busted to gain entry by DePape into the home, the glass was busted from the inside, so it goes outward. Likely somebody did that to try to cover the story up, or at least make the story sound official, that there was a break-in and they busted it from the inside to hurry up and bust a glass windows before police arrived to find that nobody had actually broken in. But that's one of the reports that's the direction of the, and again, that's unofficial, but that's the direction of the glass. Again, I'm trying to be specific about what is known facts and what's not. Now, we do know that the Pape was in his underwear. We do know that Pelosi was in his underwear. We do know that they were holding hammers. We do know that Pelosi knew the name of his attacker. We also know that they claimed that Pelosi escaped to the restroom where his phone was to call 911. Yet he didn't tell 911 that he was actually being attacked in any kind of way. We know that he couldn't have done that because law enforcement would not have approached his home that way unless they were incompetent. And that is a possibility that law enforcement was incompetent in this case. Knowing that this was Pelosi, this is a well-known name in that area, especially here lately, it's very unlikely that they would have approached it so lackadaisical if they thought there was an actual attack. I get that you might send law enforcement to this location who didn't know what they were doing if it was just you or I. But this is an important person, a VIP. So it's very unlikely that if they thought he was being attacked, they would have approached it so haphazardly like they did. It's also a little ironic that Capitol Police were dispatched from Washington, D.C. to go to San Francisco in order to, I don't want to say cover up, because that's a speculation on my part, and it is an accurate speculation on my part, but they went there to investigate. Why would you not have the local law enforcement, PD, Sheriff's Department, State Police, or even local FBI investigate? Why are you sending Capitol Police from one coast to the other to investigate this unless something's not right and they have to shape the story the way they want it hitting the media? I'd also like to point out that no body cam footage has been released yet. There will be, no doubt, FOIA requests where body cam footage will come out. I would just like to say this. It looks like Paul Pelosi had a male prostitute come over. That's what some people are saying based on the facts and the facts that we actually know that I just stated. So it sounds like he had a male prostitute come over. They might have gotten a little sideways. Maybe it was about money. Maybe it was about something else. Maybe it was about a position that somebody wanted to try and the other wasn't in favor. I don't know. That's a world that I'm not involved in, so it's tough for me to put my head around that. But look, dude, Pelosi, you're already in San Francisco. You're in the LGBTQ plus XYZ capital of the country. It's not like someone's going to judge you if this is the kind of stuff that you do, right? So just be honest about it. You're making up a story that if your wife was not the Speaker of the House, you'd probably go to jail over, because clearly you are making some of this stuff up. We just don't have all the facts right now to know what you're lying about, but there's definitely some lying that's taking place. Guys, I know this is not gun related again, but it's indirectly gun related because it involves politics. It also involves the way the media will cover something up for a protected person the way that they want. If this had been a Trump or a DeSantis with a last name DeSantis or Trump, you would know everything about it right now. This is being covered up because of who it is. And this is sad that we have to continuously deal with this type of thing whenever the person does not align with the right political party. This is what we're dealing with.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. He's so horrible.